tonight.
Oh, that's what I should do tonight?
No, I'm just curious what your plan is.
His plan is
I
NCSY, NCSY, the
On
real story.
top of the Irish guy, what's the topic?
we're gonna do I don't know, whatever the island wants. We'll take. I thought we'll do. I don't know. I thought the Be'ikr, because it's coming up on the Daf on Isru Chag, singing and dancing and clapping on Shabbos. That's gonna be that'll be the Ikr. But
why is it coming up? Why is it coming up in this? Why is that?
Stay tuned for the Daf on Isru Chag, and you'll see.
Oh, and the Daf is coming up.
I mean, it's also Simchas Torah, by the way. It's also Simchas Torah coming up, which is a time when everybody in Klal Yisrael sings and dances, claps, which seems to be against Shulchan Aruch, which I guess fits in with the theme of not eating in a sukkah tomorrow, which also is against Shulchan Aruch. So maybe that will be the theme of tonight's shir: what we do against Shulchan Aruch. How does that sound? We should put up a sign for that. Maybe we'll actually get some people to listen. No.
I'm gonna set up the recorder now already.
Sure. So I wasn't so far off talking about NCSY.
Thank goodness, Aaron. Thank goodness you're always keeping us on the derech, Aaron. Shkaya.
Aaron, there's an hour left of Shana Rabbah.
He's working on next to Shana Rabbah already.
Is way less.
Well,
okay, so let's go. Yeah, so Chav Zayin Amud Aleph. We left off. Is that where we left off? Right. Yeah. So Ami, we're talking about whether you're allowed to check mumin on Yom Tif. So 3 lines on the bottom. Chav Zayin Amud Aleph. Ami.
Yaakov, you froze. Yaakov.
Yeah, but Yom
Yaakov, you're going in and out.
Yom Tif, he didn't.
Does he hop? He doesn't, right?
Oh, no,
I texted him. He knows now.
Liner, why aren't you there, Liner?
It's a little too hard when you do it so close to shot. I tried. I wanted to get there. So I'm going to walk with him to Aaron.
No, the problem is it picks up my mother's house internet, which is schwach, obviously, from here. So when it picks it up. What do you say? Okay, so again, Ami Vardano, Chazi Burcha de Benasiya, Hava B'Yom Tova. I'm sorry, Hava. He was the one that checked the Bechars. B'Yom Tova lo Hava Chazi. But on Yom Tov, he didn't look. Also, V'Amru Leilu Rebbe Ami, they came and told Ram Ami that this Ami Vardano didn't look at Mumin on Yom Tov. Amalu Shaper Kavet lo Chazi. That's a good thing. He did a good thing that he's not looking on Yom Tov. Gemara says, Aini, it's not true for Rav Ami Kufei Chazi, but Rav Ami himself. Why is he saying that he did a good thing if Rav Ami himself doesn't look at? So meaning Rav Ami himself looked at Mumin, but he said it's a good thing that Ami Vardana doesn't. So Rav Ami Ki Chazi me Esmal have a Chazi. So what it was is that Rav Ami, he looked at an Erev Yom Tif, and he didn't pasken it on Amud base. And on Yom Tif, he would ask exactly how did it happen, right? So he really checked it on Erev Yom Tif, but he did the investigations on Yom Tif itself. And because he was too busy on Erev Yom Tif, so he figured he'll check it and then he'll try and figure out. Now, what's the problem? If it had a mum on Erev Yom Tif, so that's it. It had a mum on Erev Yom Tif. No, so the thing is, because if they were chayshid, that the Kaihanim would
I think we lost you there, Yaakov.
First, did he go back to Camp Maminim?
I think he got your phone again. He didn't pay the bill.
It's on automatic. Take it easy.
I'm
Automatic on who?
back,
On the
I'm back.
Schwer's account?
Yeah, big time.
Sorry again. I don't know. Sorry. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, I don't know where I got lost here.
We're up to brachas.
Yeah. So anyway, so we're afraid that the Kohanim put the mum into the animal, which is awesome. Right? So therefore he checked the mum, and then if he figured out that they did it on purpose, which that part he did on Yom Tov, then he would not allow it. Yeah? Fine. There was a person who brought a bechor in front of Rava, Apani the Mali Yamatava, right? And right exactly now on Erev Yom Tov, in the afternoon before Yom Tov, Havayosef Rava, the Kochayev Reshe, Rava was sitting and scrubbing his heads. And I'm sorry, I read it wrong. Havayosef Rava Kochayev Reshe. Rava was sitting and he was scrubbing his head, meaning he was washing himself for Yom Tov. And then he lifted up his eyes and he looked at the mum. Amrale, Zilla idna, go now, but Talamach, come back tomorrow. When he came back the next day, Amar, he said, hey, how did the mum happen? Amrale. So he said to him, have a shadyan sari, I put barley on this side of the mechitza, on the side of the wall, have a iu, kisa. And it was on the animal was on the other side. When I wanted to eat, so when it wanted to eat, it put its head through the fence, and then it ripped a thorn from the fence, ripped a hole or ripped a cut in its lip. Right? So that meaning, so it happened on its own. So nobody put that move onto the bechor. Amrale, duma at garamtale. Maybe you're the one that caused it. Maybe that's why you put the barley there, so we'll try and jump through the fence and then get a mum. Amalei loy. He said no. Which when we lie, he said no, so he denied it. So we're believing him. Okay, I guess we believe him. When we're not tamer the grama also, how do you know that even causing an animal to get a mum is a problem? The Tanya mum loy boy says there should be no mum in it. Ainly Allah shaloy boy mum. That only tells us it shouldn't be a mum. How do you know that you shouldn't even cause it to get a mum through something else? That you shouldn't come and take dough or devela or figs and put it on its ear. Meaning you put it on the bechor's ear, and then a dog will come and jump and bite it. Right? I'm sorry, Tamil kol mum, right? Omar mum, it says mum, v'omar kol mum, and it says any mum. So therefore tells you you're not allowed to, Kayin is not allowed to put in a mum, and he's not even allowed to cause it to get a mum. So you can't even though normally grama is not asa, right? Again, he's not causing the animal to get the mum directly. He put a piece of meat on top of the animal's head. A dog is going to come try and jump and bite it, and he's going to bite his ear, and now you made a mum. Right? Even that's also, if the kohen would do that, he would not be allowed to. He would not be allowed to eat that korban, that bechor. Right? Okay, so basically what the Gemara is saying is that Rav Ami on Erev Yom Tiv he would check to see what the story is with the animal, and then on Yom Tiv, meaning did it have a mum or not, and then on Yom Tiv he would interrogate them to find out, to make sure that they didn't purposely put a mum in there. Yeah, fine. So Zok the Mishna, a dead animal, you can't move it because it's muksa. And there was a story, and they asked Rav Tarfon about it. Right, for Afrashas challah, right? When you take off challah when you're making dough, so you have to give it to the kohen. What happens if it becomes tamei? So then nobody do anything with it. Right? It's like truma. So they asked Rabbi Tarfon about a dead animal and also about challah that became tamei. And they came to the Beis Medrash and they asked, don't move it. You're not allowed to move it because it's muksa. Right? So you see that these things can't be moved because of muksa. Just like the Gemara, correct the Gemara. Let's say this mission is not like Reb Shimon, right? Because we know Reb Shimon doesn't hold the muksa. The Tanya Reb Shimon Omer, Mechatchanes Adluan Lefnei Behema. You're allowed to cut up gourds in front of a behema, but it's unavailable Lefnei Klavim, and you could cut up a dead animal in front of dogs. If it's not dead already from Erev Shabbos, which means if it's dead from Erev Shabbos, then you know that you have it in your head, right? And it's also, I mean, if it died before Shabbos, so you had it in your mind, you're going to use it for dog food or whatever it is. But if it died on Shabbos, it's muksa because it never had it in mind. But Reb Shimon doesn't hold the muksa, so therefore he holds that dead meat's okay. So therefore, our Mishnah is not like Reb Shimon. Yeah.
Can I ask what about a person, Rahman al-Islam, that was nifter? The person muksa?
Yes, person is muksa.
Shabbos and Yom Tov?
Shabbos and Yom Tov. So that's the whole sugya in the Gemara and Shabbos with this is what Simon loves.
Second day Yom Tov too? Second day Yom Tov too?
Me'ikar adin, it's muksa, but we said that really you could go, a yid can be metapel with it. Right?
What about, is there a story of David HaMelech that they put something on David HaMelech?
Yes, that's a Gemara and Brachos, Yes, so you can move it, you can make it into a busis, which is either you take a baby and you put it down on top of the mace, or you take a challah and you put it down on top of the mace, and then you can move it, which is a special dispensation just for a mace.
So what about an animal that died?
In one of those examples, you need therapy later on. The other one, you don't need therapy later on for the buses.
What are you saying?
The baby will need therapy later on. The challah won't need therapy later on.
Oh, that could the baby, right? Well, the baby does, yeah.
So what about?
They'll be told.
So what about the case of a nevela on Yom Tov or on Shabbos?
Right, so that's exactly what the Mishnah is saying. So the nevela becomes a muksa, so you can't do anything with it. At least according to Reb Shimon. I'm sorry, according to Reb Yehuda. According to Reb Shimon, it's not muksa.
But you could put something on it, like a piece of challah or a baby.
Oh,
and
no,
move
you see, no, because that really it only works to move a mace. That's it. It doesn't work for regular muksa. Meaning you can't go take a piece of challah and put it onto your computer and move your computer.
But you can't do that to like the candles on the table.
Yeah, no, but that you could put the challah on the table. You could put the challah on the table, and then you're able to move the table even though the candles are on it. Meaning normally a table takes the status of what's what?
The challah tray. I mean the candle tray.
The challah tray or the table, either one. The challah tray.
No, the candles that are on a tray. If you need to move it off a table, you can put a challah on it and move the whole tray.
You cannot, if the tray has candles, that tray becomes muksa. Right? If you wanted to be able to move it, so then you put a challah down on top of the tray, but not on top of the candles. You wouldn't be able to take it
on the tray.
On the tray, yeah, but not directly on the muksa. For a mace, we let you put it directly on the muksa, and then you can move the muksa. Right? But not for a nevela.
A piece of challah or a whole challah? A roll?
It would have to be something chashuv. But even
a New Yorker would put a whole challah. You out of town guys would put a little bukala, okay? The New York guys will put a challah on the guy.
Well, Simon would put a baby on, no?
Yeah.
With Simon, put a baby on it, no?
Right, that's what we're saying. Simon, yeah.
I blocked out.
Yeah. Nowadays, we say that since the mace is wearing clothing, that's enough. You don't have to put the challah down on top of the mace or anything else. Yeah. Fine. Are we good? Am I lost or am I good?
Good.
Okay, good, because a lot of the faces are frozen. Anyways, so that's what we're saying. So it's a Machlokes of Shimon Rabbi Yehuda. So then Gemara says, "Afilu tema Reb Shimon." You could even say our Mishnah is Reb Shimon. Here, Reb Shimon would be Maida. Maida Reb Shimon, B'Bali Chaim Shemesu Shasurin. Reb Shimon would be Maida that something that was alive, that died, that's for sure muksa. You had no das, meaning you're talking about animals. You had no das to shecht it before Shabbos. Right, again, right? Or even on Yom Tov. Yeah, because you had no das on it. So that type of thing, even if Shimon be Maida is muksa. So meaning it works according to Mar Bar Meimar, right? That he's moed of Bali Chaim Shemesu, that it's also, so that's good. Elamar Bray the Rav Yosef Shmei the Rav Damar Chalakoy Rav Shimon Afil Bali Chaim Shemesu Shamutar Ma'ikla Meimar. Meaning this thing is a machlokes in itself, right? Reb Shimon, there's a machlokes whether Reb Shimon would be moed that if it dies on Yom Tov, right? This opinion says, there's opinion that says that even that Reb Shimon is moed that it's not how do you say it? It's not muksa. Yeah. So that's so Tirgum Azir behemoth kodshim. Ziri says no, we're talking about a behemoth of kodshim. So that's muksa. And a behemoth of kodshim is muksa. So therefore, because what are you going to do with it when it's dead? What are you going to do with it? You can't use it. Fine. So take a nami. We have a diak like that. It says that they asked the Rav Tarfon about a dead animal and chala shenitmes. Ma chala the kedisha, behemoth the kedisha. That's why the Mishna is saying two cases, right? One of chala, which is kaddish, and one is an animal, which is not kaddish. Because we're trying to say that the animal is also kaddish, right? That's why the Mishnah chose those. Ela time of the kedisha ha the chul and shari, but it's mashma that if it's kaddish, that's why it's muksa. But if it's chul and it's mutter, so then now the opposite. That's good according to the opinion that says Reb Shimon says that even when it dies on Yom Tiv, it's still not muksa. Right, but he holds that Reb Shimon is maida that if it's alive on Erev Yom Tiv, but then it dies on Yom Tiv, Reb Shimon's maida it's muksa. So what are you going to say then? So now we say it's a different. It's talking about an animal that's in a sakana, right? So it comes out that this mission is a very unique case. It's talking about an animal. In order to make it muksa, it's going to be kodshim. It's got to be and misukenes, right? I'm sorry. The one that's going to be mutter according to Reb Shimon is it's kodshim and it's misukenes. Just don't worry about it, right? And and then that's why it's not going to be, it's going to be muksa in the Mishnah. But if it would not be misukenes, then it wouldn't be. It would not. I'm sorry, I'm saying it the wrong way. Since it's kodshim, that's why in the Mishnah it's muksa. But if it wouldn't be kodshim, then it would be no problem because you'd have your das on it. Okay, fine. Zok the Mishnah. We're not allowed to count ourselves on an animal, meaning the way they did it back then, they didn't have refrigeration, right? So everybody combined, an animal will give you who knows how many weeks worth of meat. That ain't for me to say on this stuff, right? But I imagine there's a lot of meat. So what they did is they got together and they chipped in, right? They chipped in. So can you go make a chabura to shecht an animal on Yom Tov? I mean, you take, what do you want? Do you want the cowboy steak, and do you want this steak, and you want the and all that, this cut, that cut. So he's saying you can't do that. What you can do is you can make the deal on Erev Yom Tov, and then you can shecht it, and then you can split it up. Yeah, so meaning you can't do this deal on Yom Tov. You have to do it on Erev Yom Tov. My ain't nimnit. So what exactly does it mean you can't be counted? So I'm going to review Shmuel. Ain't pasken damim lechatchila halabei Yom Tov. You can't start saying, okay, you're going to give $30 towards the animal. I'm going to give $50. You're going to give $60, etc. So that you can't do, right? But how are you supposed to do it? Amarav, maybe shtei behemoths mabidin zu eitzel zu. You bring two animals, put each one next to each other. Zu kizu. You say this one is like that one, right? And then you shecht one of the animals, and then what you do with the second animal is, meaning you take two animals that seem to have the same value. You shecht it, you give it out, then after Yom Tov, you shecht the other animal, and then you give out the piece. You say, oh, this is worth that much, that's how much you have to pay, that's how much you have to pay. Right? It's a way of getting around, not discussing the monetary. part of it. A person shouldn't say, I'm in for a seller, I'm in for 2 seller. I'm in for a half, a third, or a quarter. That you're allowed to do. Meaning money you can't say, but amounts you could say. Right? So if you wanted to get something off your friend and say, I'll buy some schnapps off of you. Right? You can't say how much you want to buy. You could say, I'll buy a half a bottle. And then after Yom Tif, you deal with how much that half a bottle is worth. Yeah? Okay.
Selling aliyahs is different.
Who?
Selling aliyahs.
You were missed it. I don't think you were on in the beginning. We were talking about going, how many things we do against Shulchan Aruch. Right? So that's one of those tzarich mitzvah, rules. Right? For the tzarich mitzvah, we say it's allowed. Right? That's I think that's how we do the aliyahs. No? How about ataharesas? Oh. Okay, that's not money. That's, I guess, maybe those that do it for money, for blat. Okay, right. So Zok the Mishna. Yehuda I'm a shaykel adam on the same inyan. Yes. So shaykel Rabbi Yehuda says shaykel adam basar keneged hakli or keneged hakayvetz. You can take meat from a butcher opposite a kli or opposite a kaifetz, meaning you can't use a scale, right? You can't put a thing on the scale. You can't put the scale on there because then your mama's measuring on Yom Tov. But you could take a hammer and put the hammer on there. If it's not, I guess that wouldn't be muksa, or any sort of kli, a kais, and you know how much it weighs, then you weigh it after Yom Tov, and then that's a way of getting his meat. Chacham say, "Ein mashkichin bekaf masnayim kol ikar." And the chacham say, no, you're not allowed to use a scale at all. No scale usage whatsoever. So the Gemara continues this. My kolik, what does it mean no scale usage at all? Even if you want to put your meat on top of the scale, you have a scale, like in the grocery stores, in the old grocery stores, right? There's the scale hanging from the ceiling, right? By the vegetables.
Yaakov, I don't think there's a grocery in the store in the 5,000 that has a scale like that anymore.
No?
No.
Yeah, they can't get it. It's too. They're not strong enough to hold the money, Aaron. That's what.
Very good. Rabbi, I thought you were going to say that over here nobody cares what they pay per pound.
I didn't say that.
Oh.
What did you say?
I didn't say that. You're my friend. I didn't say that.
We were talking about the scale.
Oh, so anyway, so the scale. The 5 towns, they don't have it. Like I pulled up to Seasons today, which I normally don't go shopping. I was looking at some flowers, and right outside is parked a Lamborghini. And I said, "Oh, no wonder. That's." I was wondering who shops in Seasons. All right, so that's right. So, not often you get a Lamborghini guy shopping, but anyway. So
it was the owner.
So anyway, so you have the scale.
Register.
So let's see what to put. That could be. So, what do you say? So now that's what you want to put on top of the scale in order to save it from the mice. Right? You hang it on the scale. So that's what it's saying. Kolak means no, you're not even allowed to use the scale for that. But that's only when it's hanging from the ring, meaning when it's on the balancing thing. But if it's not on the balance, then there's no chashash whatsoever because you're not able to use the scale for measuring, so it's not a problem. It's interesting because I never got this shiloh before. I got it today and I got it on the first days. Can you use a meat thermometer on Yom Tif? You're not weighing. You just want to check the temperature.
My wife asked you a shiloh many years ago via text, and she uses it all the time as a reference.
And I said you could.
You said if it's a regular way of cooking, and she uses it regularly, then she could use it.
Yeah, because I'm waffling on that. I'm thinking now maybe because we're learning Beya. Don't tell her. Sign off now. I'm just thinking that I'm thinking that that's measuring mamish. No.
I'm been on you for years now, so it's
listen. I'm thinking about it again, but probably because we're learning the sugya, right?
Right.
See, if it doesn't give an exact measurement, so I don't know anything about meat thermometers. So I don't know.
It's not exact. It's not exact. You know?
So maybe that would
Rabbi,
be.
I'm trying here. I'm trying.
I didn't say for sure, and I told the people that asked me, I said no. But
Rabbi, there's a standing rib roast pending on this tomorrow.
I understand. I know where you're coming from.
And one second, I'll tell you a step further. Yossi Katz is coming for the Suda.
I hear.
Oh, but he has a point. Even if it is exact, it doesn't tell you
somebody
how
who
well the
would
meat
need
is cooked.
therapy if something happened. Yeah.
Right.
I think Aaron has a point, though. Even if it is exact, it only is exact now. When you let it rest, it's going to gain a few degrees. You don't know exactly how many it's going to degrees. It's not a gauge of exactly where it's going to be holding when you serve it.
No, because there's one thing Gershon Paris will tell you more, but that's because there's two different temps by meat. When it comes out and after it settles for 10 minutes.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. You're not guaranteed where he's going to end up.
I don't know.
Within a few degrees,
I have to speak to the rabbis about it. Okay, so let's see. A shaychet or a butcher, he knows how to. He could pick it up and he could weigh it. He can know from the feeling. He can know how much this meat weighs. So he's not allowed to do that on Yom Tov. You're not allowed to do displacement. I think that's what this is, right? Basically, you have water and you put it into a measuring cup and then you put in the meat and then you see how much water gets displaced and then you know how much it weighs. You're not allowed to do that either. Also, you're not allowed to make a handle in the meat. Right? That's a great. I haven't seen that in our grocery stores, right? You can easily hold your meat, take it home. You just imagine how big their meats were. That it's big enough that it makes a handle. You make a handle in it, right? Okay, but you're not allowed to do that either.
Yaakov Parrish has a few of those in the freezer.
Yeah, but he's not carrying them home like that, like a briefcase. See, Rabbaran, if you carry your meat like that, you could probably carry your towels and fill it in the bag too, like that.
The way Rashi says it, it's a hole in the meat with which to put your hand in to carry.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But the problem is the handle itself, not the hole, right?
It's the handle, meaning it looks right. It looks, yeah.
So technically,
but if you make the hole with your hand, then it's mutter. Fine. You're allowed to make a siman in meat, right? If you want to send meat to somebody, so you have to have a siman in it. Right, as you notice the triangle. His siman was cutting it as a triangle. I mean, he wanted to send his meat with a guy to his friend, and you have to have a siman. Otherwise, how do you know the guy didn't replace it? Right. So he cut it in a triangle, which is a whole sugya. Exactly what's so unique about a triangle? I thought you can't imitate that.
I thought you need two simanim. I thought you need two simanim, like put letters in Hebrew on top of a.
Yes, that's true. That is true. But as long it depends. If the people know, if the recipient knows what it looks like, then really only one. It's only when the recipient doesn't know what it looks like. Right? Then you need two. If I tell you, by the way, I'm sending this and it's going to look like this and this, then really one siman is enough. Right? It's fine. So Rav Shimon Berebi, Shaikel Mana Keneged Mana B'Yomtiv. They would take one mana against another mana. Right? Command like Rabbi Yehuda, but like Rabbanan. It's not like Rabbi Yehuda, it's not like Rabbanan. Rabbi Yehuda, how much shaykel adam basu keneged a kli, like keneged a kaifetz, right? A person could take basar neged the kli or neged a kaifetz, keneged a kli in keneged media achrina. It sounds like you can only weigh it opposite kli or neged a kaifetz, but nothing else. So ikar Rabbanan, ha'amri ein mashkichim b'kamazayim kolikar. And if it's like the Rabbanan, they hold you not allowed to use anything measuring. So how is it possible that each one of them, they took mana keneged mana? So inu, so they answer, the Gemara answers, inu davik Rabbi Yeshua. They held like Rabbi Yeshua, the time of Yeshua. I'm a shayklin mana keneged mana b'Yom Tov. You are allowed to weigh one portion against another portion on Yom Tov, which is obviously not our Mishna, because we said you're not allowed to do any sort of weighing whatsoever. Amr Yosef, halachik Rabbi Yeshua, halachos like Rabbi Yeshua, hayel b'tanam b'chayres kavasei. Since we learned the Mishnah b'chayres like him, the Tanan, b'sulia makdashin, right? Things that are puzzle from hektish. So hanasan lehektish, there hana goes like, so there's a few things we need a little hakdama. Like something that's puzzle for hektish, like a bechar, or anything that becomes puzzle has like quasi kedusha. So basically what happens is you try and sell it for as much money as you can, and then it goes to the Beis HaMikdash, right? So the Hanasan goes to Hektish. But the thing is, you don't want to be mavazit by selling it stam at the street. On the other hand, maybe you can get good money for it. So we say, Shaykh Lamana can get money by a Bechar, we're makel that if you can get more money for it, then you can weigh it against something else, and you'll make more money for Hektish. So you see that you're allowed to be Shaykh Lamana Keneged Mana. So that's a stam Mishna, and that's like Rabbi Shua. Maybe that's not true. I'd kind of like Rabbi Shua kodshim. Here, there's no bezayin kodshim. So on Yom Tov, you're allowed to do it. But when you're trying to sell meat, sell kodshim meat, and it is a bezayin, then maybe he would not allow you to weigh one meat opposite the other meat. Ella mishum the like michsi kuvd in the chol doesn't look like weekday activity. But here the michsi kuvd in the chol that it looks like weekday activity. Lo, so then that doesn't work. So it's not lav davka raya that we pass on like Rabbi Shua. Then I want to ask a different kasha. The memra the kapti atadi. You saying that Reb Chi and Reb Shimon were makbid on each other, meaning when they split things, they made sure each one got exactly how much the other one is getting. There were 7 fish that came to Rebbe's house. Reb Chi ended up with 5. Right, he was one kid, but like covered Reb Shimon Berebi, and Reb Shimon Berebi was not makbid. Right, meaning that Reb Shimon Berebi was Rebbe's son. Obviously, he got less portions of fish than this visitor who was Reb Chia. So you see that they were not makbid. One got 5, one got 2, so they weren't always makbid on each other. You have to throw a different person between them, meaning you have the wrong people involved in the story. It's either Reb Chia and Reb Shmuel Reb Yaisi, either Reb Shimon Berebi or Bar Kafra, or it's Reb Shimon Berebi and Bar Kafra. But the people that you said the story happened with, it's not true. It's not true. Yeah, fine. Let's go a little bit weiter. You're not allowed to sharpen knives on Yom Tov, but you're allowed to rub one on top of the other. Maybe that will sharpen it a little bit. This is only talking about a stone, regular stone sharpener. But a sharpener that's made out of wood, that's mutter. This that we said it a stone is also, we only said it to sharpen it. But if you're just rubbing the knife, like we learned last week, that you have a lot of fats on knives. So if you're just rubbing the knife on wood in order to get off the fat, that's for sure okay. But if it's wood, then even to sharpen it, it's mutter. Those are learning on the safe. Mutter. For wood, it's mutter. Right? That's only to remove the fats. But to sharpen it, it's also. Evan, we can be masher that a stone, even to remove fats, it's also. And those that learn it on our Mishna. You're not allowed to sharpen a knife on Yom Tov. That's only to sharpen it. It's mutter. Right? Same Gemara, just the opposite, meaning in the opposite direction. To put one knife on top of another knife and sharpen it that way, it's mutter. And those that learn on a sefer, you're allowed to scrape one on top of the other. That's only to remove the fats. But to sharpen it, it's also. So Mechlal, the Mashchezes, that by a sharpener, also, even to remove the fats, it's also. Okay, so meaning it's back and forth whether we hold that you're allowed to remove the fat off a knife with a stone sharpener or a wood sharpener or both. Fine. So Mantana the Mashchezes also, who's the one that says that you're not allowed to use a stone sharpener? Right? Meaning, why not? Why shouldn't you use a stone sharpener? You need to sharpen your knives in order to cut the meat on Yom Tov. It's a tzarech Yom Tov. Why can't I do it? Right? So Rav Chisda, the like Rabbi Yehuda, that's not like Rabbi Yehuda. The Tanya ain't ben Yom Tov Shabbat alo eichel nefesh b'vad. There's no difference in Yom Tov Shabbat. It's only actual food preparation. Rabbi Yehuda matir af machshir eichel nefesh. Rabbi Yehuda says even machshir eichel nefesh is allowed, meaning you're allowed to make knives and fix your barbecue grill and all that type of stuff. Some of the Rav Chisda Darshina Mishmecha Halachic Rabbi Yehuda. They darshan in your name, Halachic Rabbi Yehuda. Amalei Yehei Rava the Kol Kihani Mili Mali Satirush Mishmai. It should be Hashem's will that all Givaldic things like that should be said in my name. Right? Amar Rav Nechemi Bereit Rav Yosef. Right? So then what it says, Rav Nechemi is standing in front of Yosef. Havakimna Kamei the Rava. They were standing in front of Rava. Vavaka and on top of Beis now Vavaka. Ma'aver Sakina Apuma de Dekula. They were rubbing a knife on the top of a basket. And some said that they were doing it to sharpen it, or to remove the fats. He said to me, I'm doing it to remove the fat. And when I saw that in his das, he was doing it to sharpen. And he holds one of the more interesting things that you ever have in Gemara. Because it's halacha, but you don't teach it. Meaning the halacha is that you're allowed to sharpen it on top of a basket, but we don't tell people this, because if we tell people this, they're going to end up botching it.
We seem to be having this halacha ve'ein morin kain a lot over here in Be'er.
What? Yeah. We're having it again tomorrow. Tomorrow's daf. I mean, this is tomorrow's daf. The next day's daf. Right? He was rubbing it on the top of a millstone. Some said that he was doing it to sharpen it. I'm saying we said to him, are you doing it to sharpen it or are you doing it to remove the fat? And I saw that he was really doing it to sharpen because right? And we said that it's halacha ve'ein morin kain. I guess we got to stop here because the oilam's dropping out like flies. But okay, so I guess Matzah Yom Tif, I don't know, figure around, I don't know, 8:35, 8:40, whatever. It's that matter. I think that should cover the Midwest.
Yeah, my wife just came into the sukkah to light candles, and she's like, "Are you making Yom Tif? Anybody on the daf making Yom Tif?"
Here you go. Well, I davened mincha already, but nah. Yeah.
You want to drive, or I should walk to you?
It's up to you.
You want to drive, or I should walk to you?
I'd love to walk.
We'll make it if I walk to you, right? I'll leave in 10 minutes.
No,
yeah?
Because mincha's over at 1:45. No,
yeah, mincha 6:35. It's a 10-minute mincha.
Yeah, he said 10 to. He said 10 to. If I leave right now, I'll be by you in 10 minutes, and we'll walk.
It's 15-minute walk.
Yeah, so I'll leave at 6:35. We'll get there perfectly.
So what time is that?
Oh, where do you like candles tonight?
8:35, 8:40 in that area.
Yeah, if you light in the sukkah.
Where do you like
house?
candles? Yeah.
Tonight you light in the sukkah, eating in the sukkah.
If I'm eating by somebody else,
okay. I'm getting up.
All right, you know what? I'll ask you this in person. Goodbye.
Yeah, I'm leaving. I'll be by.
Good Yom Tif, everybody. Good Yom Tif.
I'll be by you in 10 minutes. Good Yom Tif. You want me to drive to you?
David? Who said
Aaron Kaplan's eating by someone. He'll ask you when you get to him. Aaron Kaplan's eating by someone else.
All right.
He's calling me. He's calling. What should I tell him?
Sharpening knives is halacha ve'ein morin kain?
I think so. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right, Yashikai, have a wonderful Yom Tif.
A good Yom Tif. Don't dance too much.
You can't leave me without Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Simchas Torah.
What?
You can't leave me without Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Simchas Torah. At least one of them I should have.
I hear. I'm hanging up.
All right.
All right. Yashikai,
Yom Tif.